howdy, pards. Welcome to Coyote Calhoun's RPG Roundup. Today we're going to take a look at Dragon's Dogma. Now, I don't know about you, but I had no idea what a dogma was. So I went to the internet and I looked it up. It said stuff like a doctrine or a corpus of doctrines relating to matters such as morality and faith, set forth in an authoritative manner by a church. What? Hell, I must have read that 20 times and I still don't know what it means. You know what? I don't think they do either. I'll bet they was just sitting around the campfire passing the peyote trying to come up with some kind of name. Probably thought it just sounded as tough and badass. Dragon's Dogma. Shoot. Anywho, let's break this game down. We'll start with your character. The whole point of an RPG is character customization, and Dragon's Dogma has it. Now, you can play as a dude or a chick. Personally, I prefer the ladies. If I'm going to spend that much quality time watching something hack up monsters and talking sass, I'd rather it be a hot buxom beauty than some burly dude. Just my preference. I ain't judging here. So you can make her look as pretty as a Gene bug or ugly as a sack of hammers. You can give them all kinds of faces and hair and makeup. Oh, and check this part out. How you like your lady lumps? We got tater tots, titties, boobs, all the way up to jugs. Hot mustard. Something about that just tickles my tender parts. Hey, you know what else? I ain't never seen this in any other game, but looky here. You can even play as a little greenhorn. So all you youngins out there can make your character look like a little kid too. Oh yeah, I mentioned, you can play a dude too. Yeah, it looks like the same stuff here too. Anyhow, now in this game you get what they call a pawn. I never really understood what in tarnation a pawn was. It's like a person, but not really. They're part of your posse, but if they get killed, they just go back to camp and they wait for you. They talk and think and act on their own, but they aren't really human either. It's all so confusing to me. Short end of the stick is you get to create your own pawn the same way you create your character, and your pawn is with you the whole game. And no, you can't share your sleeping bag with your pawn. Actually, ain't no boot knocking in the whole game. You get kind of close with the queen, but you never actually get to dip your wig. The game lets you pick different armor and clothing and weapons, and you can play as a standard magic dude, a light fighter, or a heavy fighter. Each class has its own weapons, staffs for magic folk, and bows, and swords, and daggers, and hammers and stuff for the fighters. You pick the class at first, but you can switch during the game. You get to pick a class for your pawn too. Actually, your pawn is kind of like you're playing two characters at once. You can dress them up and arm them any which way you please. And if you're just a little pervy like me, you'll enjoy the female-only armor and accoutrement sections they offer. Hooey! Some of them make you want to play with the lights off. Gameplay in Dragon's Dogma is pretty straightforward. It does have restriction based on the class you pick. Like a mage can't be running around in full armor swinging a hammer. That's just wrong. You have all your different attacks and you can assign them to buttons so you can switch them up as you need to. And you don't have to repair your weapons and you never run out of arrows. I really like that feature. The game has your usual monsters and bad guys, but it also has some big boys like trolls and griffins and hell, I just call them Camaros. Reminds me of that car that turns into a robot. What's his name, Bumblebee or whatever? Yeah, that always cracks me up, a car turning into a person. Shoot. Anywho, what really skins the cat is you can climb up on these big guys and start wailing away for all you're worth. Now, it can be a little tricky navigating your way up there, but there's nothing more satisfying than hanging on the head of a troll and pounding a mud hole in his skull, then jumping off as he falls in a pool of his own blood. Ah, warms the shady spots down below, don't it? They do make it slightly tougher than just strict button mashing. Each different monster has a weak part that you have to hit them to kill them. Most of them you can just go to the head, but golems and dragons and those little dragon fellers, they got these bright spots you have to hit with arrows or pound them with your weapons. Shoot, some of the nastier ones can only be killed with magic. Your pawns, they'll give you hints on how to do that. Oh hey, speaking of pawns, you get the one to be your sidekick forever, but you can also get two more from this cloudy place. What's really slicker than snot on the doorknob is that you get to pick your other two pawns from all the other players' pawns. Yeah, the other players get to use your pawn too. I know, I was confused before. It's like your pawn can be all over at once. It's like some sort of spirit warrior or something. Anywho, you go to this cloudy place and it's like Saturday night down at the Purring Kitten, where they trot the ladies out and you get to pick the one you like. So you build your posse the way you want it. You mix and match magic, fighters, pretty, ugly, whatever you're into, man. You get bored with one, then you just throw them back and you pick out another. It's like a big swap meet. The main quest line is pretty easy to follow. You start off as a nobody, but find out you're the chosen one, and ultimately, you're the only one that can save the world. Nothing really new in the way of story here. You don't really interact much with other characters, so there really isn't any bonding to speak of. No real character development. You can raise a person's what they call affinity for you, but it really doesn't do much. Though the storyline is familiar, it does spin the tale in a fun way to keep your attention. Actually, the story never ends. You can go through like the wind in the main quest and sort of hang out at the end forever if you like, or it has this feature where you can start over and use your character, all beefed up and play the game again. It's a little weird because they don't make the monsters any tougher on the second playthrough. Everything's exactly the same. It's like that deja vu all over again. Shoot, I boosted up the difficulty to max just to make it interesting. You could just keep doing this over and over and over if you like. This game is fun to play. You get to climb on monsters and kill them. And you can switch out your pawns and change up your posse. Enchanting stuff is pretty easy. You can make stuff by combining different things you find, but you pretty much have to look it up on the internet to figure out what you combine to make what. You could guess, I suppose. Seems like a waste of time, though. What I found fun was making my pawn really cool so other folks could use her. And if somebody showed me some kindness, I would use their pawn and give them a kind of fancy armor or a big ass sword or something. Makes you feel good giving to others like that. Overall, so let's see, where we at? Character. I'd give that a 5 out of 5 howls. Not much more you can do here. Gameplay. Let's go with 4 howls here. It was a hoot. Story. Yeah, I'd give it 3 howls. Better than most, but I'd like to care more for the characters. Fun factor. 4 loud and proud howls for fun. Well, folks, that gives us an overall rating of 4 out of 5 howls. And that's pretty good. Hey, drop me a note if you want to play, and we can share some goodies through our pawns. Sniff you soon.